I never thought I'd be the bad guy in my own love story, but here I am, single at 32, with even broke guys ghosting me after the first date. And the worst part? I can trace it all back to me running my mouth about my husband when he needed me most. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Let me explain. I'm Kira, and 6 months ago, I had what most people would call a decent life. Not Instagram perfect, but comfortable. Jerry, my husband of 6 years, was making really good money as a welder. Like, actual grown-up money that let us have our little starter home and 2 decent cars. Meanwhile, I was grinding it out as a manager at Target, which honestly sounds more impressive than it is. Try dealing with Karen after Karen while corporate breathes down your neck about guest satisfaction scores. Jerry and I weren't living large, but we had our routines. Friday night takeout, weekend cookouts with our best friends Mike and Brittany, the occasional splurge at the outlets. Jerry's welder money meant I could buy the good shampoo and get my nails done regularly, even though my Target paycheck mostly went to keeping my work wardrobe leadership appropriate and covering my car payment. Looking back, I guess I took it all for granted. Jerry would come home tired, covered in metal dust or whatever, but he'd still help with dinner or grab us groceries. I used to joke that he was my sugar daddy, even though he hated that. Kira, we're a team, he'd say. Funny how I miss hearing that now. Everything changed 3 months ago. Jerry was at work, doing whatever welders do. I never really paid attention when he talked about his job, to be honest. All I know is something went wrong with a support beam or whatever, and next thing I know, I'm getting a call that he's in the ER with a crushed vertebrae. The doctors kept using words like severe spinal compression and potential chronic pain, but all I could think about was how we'd manage if he couldn't work. The first few weeks weren't so bad. I played nurse, helped Jerry with his meds, even took some time off work to drive him to appointments. But then the workers' comp got delayed. Something about paperwork and investigations. Our savings started bleeding out to medical bills, and suddenly my Target manager's salary wasn't feeling so optional anymore. That's when I started noticing things. How Jerry would wince every time he moved but insist on trying to unload the dishwasher. How our Friday takeout turned into me cooking because we had to watch our spending. How my perfect little life was slipping away because my husband couldn't just get better already. I started venting to Brittany during our weekly coffee dates. Just little comments at first, like how Jerry was taking forever to heal, or how I was tired of hearing him groan every time he moved. I didn't think it was a big deal, just friends talking, right? And yeah, maybe I got a bit carried away during break room chats at Target, making jokes about having a useless husband at home. But I was stressed. Nobody tells you how hard it is watching your lifestyle disappear while your husband lies around all day. God. I sound horrible, don't I? But here's the thing, I didn't see it then. I was too busy being mad at the situation, at the workers' comp people, at Jerry for not healing faster. I didn't realize I was about to lose everything until it was too late. And the worst part, it wasn't even the injury that broke us. It was my own big mouth. Let me tell you how it all fell apart because maybe someone can learn from my mistake. Though honestly, I'm still not sure what I could have done differently. What was I supposed to do? Just silently watch my life implode. It started getting real when the medical bills kept coming and Jerry's workers' comp checks didn't. Like, we're talking ramen noodle dinners and me canceling my gym membership. Jerry kept saying we'd be fine, but I could see our savings draining faster than a clearance sale at Target. And there he was, still on the couch, still moaning about his back, still not getting any better. I started dreading going home after my shifts. At least at Target, I could pretend everything was normal. Well, as normal as retail hell gets, but my breaks turned into therapy sessions. You guys, my husband is literally useless now, I'd tell my team while scarfing down my sad packed lunch. Like, he can't even take out the trash without acting like he's dying. Brittany was my main outlet, though. We'd meet for coffee, and I'd just unload everything. How Jerry was taking forever with physical therapy, how he'd get all quiet and mopey when I mentioned bills, how I was basically married to a couch potato now. She'd give me these looks sometimes, like she wanted to say something, but she'd just sip her latte and let me vent. The thing is, I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just frustrated. You try watching your husband shuffle around like an 80-year-old while your credit card bills pile up. And yeah, maybe I went too far sometimes. Like when I told everyone at Brittany's cookout how Jerry was basically retired at 34. Or when I joked to my mom that I should have married someone with better insurance. I didn't think Jerry could hear me when I was on the phone in our bedroom, telling my sister how pathetic it was watching him try to do basic things. I mean, he was in the living room with the TV on. But apparently, sound carries better than I thought, because later I caught him just staring at me with this look I'd never seen before. But here's what really gets me. Everyone started acting like I was the bad guy. Like, hello? I was the one working doubles to keep us afloat, while Jerry did his physical therapy homework wrong half the time because he forgot the proper form. I was the one dealing with bill collectors and insurance people and trying to keep our life from completely falling apart. Brittany started getting weird about our coffee dates. She'd make excuses about being busy or having to help Mike with something. I figured she was just tired of hearing me complain, but oh boy, was I wrong. Turns out she had a lot more to do with what happened next than I realized. I was having a particularly rough day at Target. Some guy had screamed at me about expired coupons for like 20 minutes when Mike showed up at our house. I was still at work, but Jerry told me later how it went down. Mike came by just to check on him, which was weird because Mike usually only came over when I invited both him and Brittany for dinner. Jerry said Mike seemed off, like he was carrying some heavy news. They did that guy thing where they pretend to watch TV while having serious talks. After some awkward small talk about football, Mike finally dropped the bomb. He told Jerry everything. All my venting to Brittany, my break room rants at Target, even some Facebook posts I'd made about supporting a grown man. I guess I should have known better than to trust Brittany. She'd been telling Mike everything. And apparently, they'd been concerned about how I was handling things. Like they had any right to judge me? They weren't the ones watching their whole life fall apart. When I got home that night, Jerry was just sitting there in the dark, one lamp on, looking like someone had died. I knew something was wrong because he'd actually dragged himself to sit at the kitchen table instead of his usual spot on the couch. He didn't even look up when I walked in. "Were you ever going to tell me how you really felt?" he asked, and my stomach just dropped. His voice had this edge I'd never heard before. Or were you just going to keep telling everyone else what a burden I am? I tried to play it off. Said Mike was exaggerating, that he didn't understand the context. But Jerry just pulled out his phone and showed me screenshots Brittany had sent him of my Facebook posts. There they were, all my little jokes, about having a useless husband, about being the only functioning adult in our marriage, about how some people would rather lay around than work. Looking at them all together like that, I guess they seemed pretty bad. But come on. Everyone vents on social media. And those posts were from my worst days, when the bills were piling up and Jerry would spend hours just lying there with his heating pad while I ran myself ragged at work. "I've been killing myself trying to get better," Jerry said, and I could see him wincing as he shifted in his chair. "Do you know how hard it is, doing physical therapy when every movement feels like fire? And all this time, you've been..." He couldn't even finish the sentence. That's when I realized maybe I'd messed up bigger than I thought. I did what anyone would do, tried to fix it fast. I reached out to help him get more comfortable, but he jerked away like my touch burned him. That hurt. After all these months of helping him move around, getting his meds, driving him to appointments, now he wouldn't even let me touch him? "Don't," he said, still not looking at me. "Just don't pretend you care now. Not after I've read what you really think about me." "Babe, come on." I tried to sound caring but firm. "You're taking this way too seriously. Everyone needs to vent sometimes, and you have to admit this situation has been hard on both of us." That's when he finally looked at me. And honestly, I wished he hadn't. His eyes had this emptiness, like he was looking at a stranger. "Hard on both of us?" His voice was so quiet, it scared me. "I lost my job. I can barely walk some days. The doctors don't know if I'll ever be able to weld again. And while I'm lying there, feeling like a failure because I can't provide for my family anymore, my wife is out there telling everyone what a worthless piece of garbage I am? I never said garbage. I started crying. Like ugly crying. You're twisting everything. I was just frustrated and scared and... And what? He cut me off. And that gives you the right to humiliate me? To make jokes about my injury? To tell all our friends I'm lazy while I'm doing everything I can to recover? I tried a different approach. If you just let me explain. Explain what, Kira? Explain how you told Brittany I was milking it when you found me crying in the bathroom after physical therapy? Explain how you complained to your whole Target team about having to support a grown man when the workers' comp was delayed? Explain the Facebook post about how some people would rather play injured than work? Each example hit like a slap. I hadn't realized he knew so many specifics. Stupid Brittany and her big mouth. Fine, I snapped, my tears turning angry. You want the truth? Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I complain, because this isn't what I signed up for. I'm drowning here, Jerry. Working overtime at a job I hate, coming home to medical bills and a husband who... Who what? His voice was deadly quiet again. A husband who got injured trying to provide for us? Who pushes through pain every single day trying to get better? Who apparently can't even trust his own wife to have his back? That's when I made my big mistake. I thought I could shock him into backing down. Make him see how serious this was. Maybe we should just get divorced then, I shouted, standing up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. Since I'm such a terrible wife and you're so miserable with me, I expected him to panic, to backpedal, to realize he was about to lose me. Instead, he just sat there, nodding slowly like something finally made sense. You know what? He said, his voice eerily calm. Maybe we should. My stomach dropped. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. What? I've spent months thinking I was the problem, he continued, grimacing as he shifted in his chair. Feeling guilty because I couldn't work, because you had to pick up extra shifts, because our savings were draining. But now I see the real problem. Jerry, wait. I started, backpedaling fast. I didn't mean. Yes, you did, he cut me off. You meant every word. Just like you meant all those things you said to our friends, to your coworkers, on Facebook. The only difference is now you're saying it to my face. I tried changing tactics, made my voice soft and sweet. Baby, we're both just stressed. We can work through this. I'll do better, I promise. I'll stop complaining. You'll what? He actually laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. You'll just trash me behind my back instead of to my face? You'll wait until I'm asleep to post about what a burden I am? That's not fair. I was crying again, but this time it wasn't getting me anywhere. I'd been taking care of you for months. Taking care of me? His eyes got wide. Is that what you call it? Helping me with basic tasks while telling everyone who'll listen how pathetic I am? Making sure I take my meds while joking about how you're stuck with a useless husband? He tried standing up then, and I saw him bite back a groan of pain. I reached out to help him automatically, but he waved me off. Don't bother, he said, using the table to push himself up. I'd hate to be more of a burden than I already am. That's when the panic really set in. This wasn't a fight anymore. This wasn't something I could fix with tears or promises or manipulation. I could see it in his eyes. Something had broken between us. Something I wasn't sure could be repaired. That was 6 months ago. Jerry moved in with his brother the next day, while I was at work. He left his key and a note saying his lawyer would be in touch. A lawyer. Like we needed to get that formal about it. I tried everything to fix it, called him constantly until he blocked my number. Sent him long emails about how sorry I was, how much I missed him, how we could work it out. Posted sad songs on Facebook about forgiveness and second chances. Nothing. Radio silence. Meanwhile, my so-called friends showed their true colors. Brittany blocked me on everything. Other friends stopped inviting me places. Even my work friends started finding excuses not to take breaks with me, like I was toxic or something. The real kick in the teeth? Jerry's doing better now. My friend Chelsea ran into him at the grocery store last week. Said he's walking almost normally, working part-time training new welders since he can't do the heavy lifting anymore. He's even dating some nurse he met at physical therapy. Must be nice. Having someone who actually understands medical stuff. Mule? I'm still at Target, but but now I'm the manager everyone whispers about. The one who trashed her injured husband. I tried dating apps, but somehow people always find out about what happened. Even guys I meet at bars ghost me once they hear through mutual friends about what I did to my ex. And honestly, I still don't get why everyone's making such a big deal about this. Yes, I said some things I shouldn't have. Yes, I could have been more supportive, but I was stressed. I was scared. I was watching our whole life fall apart while Jerry took forever to heal. Anyone would have complained a little. But try telling that to the last guy I dated. He actually had the nerve to say he couldn't trust someone who'd kick their partner while they're down. As if he knows anything about what I went through. About how hard it was watching your husband turn into a different person, seeing your comfortable life slip away, dealing with all that pressure alone. So here I am, single at 32, still folding clothes and dealing with entitled customers at Target. Meanwhile, Jerry's moving on with his life like I never existed. Everyone acts like I'm the bad guy. But nobody wants to acknowledge how much I did for him before I cracked under pressure. Nobody remembers all the doctor's appointments, all the medication schedules, all the nights I spent worried about our future. The worst part? Even the broke guys won't date me now. Like, seriously? You're working part-time at GameStop and living with roommates, but somehow I'm not good enough for you? At least I have a management position. I guess this is my karma or whatever, but if you ask me, I'm not the villain everyone makes me out to be. I'm just someone who said what everyone else thinks when things get hard. I just made the mistake of saying it out loud.